folks there. And Sunday, we rolled in Saturday night into the airport, and Sunday, Michelle, do you have Sunday?
I have most of it, yeah.
You have most of it. You can look at the pictures there, so you can talk through some of those. We have widowage.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Michelle, and I'll be talking a little bit about Sunday afternoon. We had about a 20-minute hike to the outskirts of the village. We followed a small, rough road that made a Minnesota minimum maintenance road look comfortable. It was a walk. Uphill at the end of this road, we came to the gates of the widowage. In Haiti, most homeowners use a large fence or walls with gates to define their property lines and for safety. Within the gates is about a 3-acre property that currently has one 3-room earth-bag home with a porch. This widow has been in this home for about a month and has been keeping it very clean and tidy. An earth-bag home is a newer design that is supposed to be more resistant to hurricanes and earthquakes, and thanks to the thicker walls, is also often a few degrees cooler than the outside air. Also on the property is a new community latrine that consists of 3 private shower stalls on one side and 3 bathroom stalls on the other. At this time, there are crops of bananas, plantains, and moringa. Within the crops, they have a small honeybee colony that is used for pollination and the occasional honey harvest. The long-term goal of the widowage is to have 9 more homes built within their gated community and to use their resources to try to become fairly self-sufficient. Every time we walked through town, there were always new things to see. There appeared to be 3 different kinds of homes. Some were constructed of only sticks. Some had tarps for roofs. Some resembled a native mud hut. Some looked similar to the earth-bag home. Near the widowage is an earth-bag home that 710 did help provide. One section of the road, there was a small market that consisted of a few vendors. They were basically under small canopies. Everywhere we went, we would see more people, children, goats, chickens, sometimes even the occasional cat or dog. The main road of the village is roughly 1.5 lanes wide, and on and off every day we would hear or see large dump trucks that would weave their way down the road to get to the river and back with loads of the river rock. And it definitely took a lot of experience to drive that rig through town, and it was an interesting sight. The one thing that really struck me with the widowage is the plant that they have there called moringa. It grows like a bush and it has leaves that can be harvested and eaten. This plant grows fairly fast and is extremely nutritious. While we were at the widowage, we were allowed to pluck a few of the leaves off and try them. To me, it was very spicy and I had a good drink of water right away to wash it out. I'm sure if you mix it with food, it's very different and it'll add a lot of flavor. The leaves reminded me a lot of smaller, more firm versions of spinach. And the thing is that this is actually an extremely nutritious plant. And unfortunately, it's almost never eaten because it's not a normal staple in the Haitian diet. Hopefully, 710 will be able to incorporate this newer food item into more of their diets with the help of the widowage to help fight the malnutrition epidemic.
The moringa is actually on the lower left-hand side there. It looks like shrubbery, like you or I might plant in front of our house. Even burns your tongue a little bit. I think, so I can see why they would never suggest.
I would figure chop it up and use it like a seasoning.
Yeah.
And a little hair.
Yeah, okay. So then Sunday morning was our first morning. The first thing we did was we went to a church service in the morning, a Haitian church service. They did not know we were coming. They seemed thrilled that we were there. I sat next to someone who knew English, so he kind of whispered to me what was going on some of the time. I think I was the only one that had that privilege, though, and I tried to pass it on down to Ben and John, who were sitting next to me. I don't think it got any further than that. But this was a really nice church. I was really impressed with it. It was just really neat to be able to see the people that came and gathered. And at the end of the service, they had an offering. The box that man has there, the suit and tie, is their benevolence offering. It's for the poor and the needy. And so we went with some money, and so some of the money that we wanted to give to the Haitians we gave through this church, because again, there are people who know legitimate needs from non-legitimate needs, and again, it's best that if the money doesn't just come through an American, otherwise they're always plaguing you for money. So even as we were there, people were asking us for everything. The clothes on our back, whatever we had in our hands, sponsored them to go to school, $150, $1, candy, gum, everything. They just asked me for stuff.
Even at the airport.
Even at the airport, we got, they
Huh.
wanted to carry our bags, and, yeah.
Well, someone had said they walked out of the bathroom and it was out of soap. I thought it was one of you guys, and you told one of the guys, one of the staff members, and when you told the staff member turned around and said, $1.
Oh, we didn't know that.
I can't remember who said that, someone was saying that.
Yeah, it was crazy. So then Monday, Dan's gonna tell us about Monday.
Good morning. On Monday, we took a tour of Adam's plantation. We walked through his plantation on a small, well-traveled footpath that weaves on the outside of the crops. Between the rows are small trenches that are hand-dug to allow the water to flow. The water comes from a dam in a nearby river, which has concrete canals to divert the water through the village along the road. The water is then directed from the canal into the fields, or as they call them, gardens, by these trenches. And the only machines that they have there is a gas-powered water pump to get the water from a lower reservoir to a higher garden that would need to irrigate. The crops we saw were mainly plantains, bananas, white beans, coffee beans, avocado. I'm sure there was more, but we were moving along so fast I couldn't really keep up. They use the plantains and the banana plants to shade the beans and lower growing crops. And they're all in the same row of the garden. And as soon as they harvest the crops by hand, they would plant another crop, continue using the gardens year-round. Now, they don't have tractors and planters like we're used to seeing. Instead, they use machetes to dig and plant the crops. And the gardens that we saw are only a few of them that Adam has.
That's how you get lumber. Saw that in the plantation.
They were making sawn planks. It was incredible. Yeah.
We were also asked if we could assist with the repair of a church roof. So Ben Swain, Jay Kepner, and I walked down the road led by Jeremiah Dwyer to a small church. I think the only pictures that were really taken was by Jake of the very large spider that we spooked out hiding by people on the roof.
That's a 2x4 up there, so that spider is all of
They were big.
Sitting on the 4-inch side of the plank, wrapped his legs around to the 2-inch side. Once we got beyond the spider, we saw the tin roof was used on another building and then reused to make the roof of the church. So there were small holes all over the tin. And what they had ended up being a gallon of final coating on a type of fiberglass patching, so we didn't really get to help with that too much. But the inside of the church was actually really nice. It had a real nice tiled center aisle. There was a lot of seating in the front of the church, had very large speakers. A lot of sound equipment, which is what they wanted to keep safe from the rains by fixing the roof. When we got back to where we were staying, a group of us sat under the coconut trees asking how they got the coconuts. Which turns out they climb up the trees, pick them, and drop them down. So we needed a demonstration. So we had 2 of the translators climb up, grab a few of them, and then bring them down and show us how to get the coconut juice, which they use the machetes to shave off the ends of the coconut, which get down to the center. It's just a white core. Puncture a hole in the side of it, and then puncture the top core, and then you can drink the juice. It's actually pretty good too. And afterwards, I couldn't understand what was being said, but the laughter and body language told me that there was joking around and a good sense of humor and relationship between the translators and Adam. And got me thinking that we are in an area of poverty, and there is a lot of generosity, kindness, and compassion in the hearts of these people. I was most impacted as we went through the rest of the week by meeting so many caring people, which made me realize the large amount of generosity that these people have in an area of poverty. The compassion in the hearts of the people in an area of a poverty where it seems to shine bright.
It was kind of funny because all the translators were young guys, like between 18 and 21, and they all claimed it was really easy to climb these coconut trees, and they did it all the time, but it took about 15 or 20 minutes of talking about doing it before it actually got done. So it was kind of fun. John's going to share with us about Tuesday. No, Ben's going to share with us about Tuesday.
God is so great. He gifted us by being able to go. And we went with the Haitians over to build a chicken coop, and we got to interact with them and see how they do things. And it was great to see how they work together and how they build things, which is different than probably what we would do here, doing the same type of construction. But it was good to see them there giving each other a hard time and giving me a hard time. But it was good. And the purpose of this is for Adam's school. They want to, I think the idea is to teach the younger children a trade so they can support themselves and show them how to reproduce food to eat the next day. I guess some of the mindset there is that I have a chicken day, I'll kill it and eat it today and worry about tomorrow with a lot of the folks. And so it may take a lot longer to reach some of the older people through building a relationship to change that mindset, but the easiest way seems to be starting with the little ones. They're more impressionable and they're eager to learn. And so in doing this, they're gonna let the children take care of the animals and show them that we can have more chickens and we can sell them and we can have eggs and we can provide for our families every day. So it's also teach them a trade and something marketable. We did have an adventure, nice little adventure in Tap one day. Tap Taps are a vehicle that they make out of a pickup, different types, and they put sides on them, and they just load you up in there, and away you go. They have tarps on that wood roof. Sometimes you'll see people riding on top of them, flying down the road. It's made me glad I moved the water because I was facing the time that anytime it can be, it is the way that the driving and such is there. But we had a flat, and so we're standing on the side of the road, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to get the front end up. So eventually the guys just grab the front end of the truck and lift it up. So they take off and get a tire, and the guy comes along, and he's got a rusty wheelbarrow with sugar cane. So they have no idea where that knife that he used had come from, or could kill an animal before, but Pastor decided to partake in some of that. So we do have some pictures of he spitting chunks of sugar cane out. Oh, you didn't? Oh, okay. So anyhow, they finally get it fixed, and we go on our way. We get back to the village to go see the widowage, and at the end we had another flat tire. So I felt pretty bad for the guy that owned it, but thank the Lord we got back in the area to walk back to the village. It was quite an interesting ride. I guess the other thing is that really struck me is the general outlook on children and their values, and going through the orphanage and seeing the young ladies and the young boys at school, and the older girls, like in teenage years, they seem kind of set aside, and I guess the whole thing with them, a lot of them just go home after school. They've got to do all the housework, they do all this stuff, and then they buy candle or whatever they have, they do homework, and there's no real value like we place on our children here in love, except for there is the godly men that we met. They do treat their families the way the Lord would have them to treat them. And there were a couple of them, but you don't see parents holding hands. You don't see any love and affection that way. From what I understand, crying is a weakness there. And just interacting with them and them wanting you to love, to be loved. The children of the orphanages and these young ladies, you think, that I have a daughter, of course, that they're at the mercy of men and their culture, and things are going to get. And so they really
first on Wednesday, I think we, well, as you can see in the picture, we went to this guy's house. Well, we went to all these houses and stuff, and as you can see, they're just made out of mud and sticks all put together. And it's really terrible and sad, and like 9 people can live in one of these homes. And it's really small. It's like a little shed that you would have in your backyard. So here's some more houses, and they just make them out of mud and like whatever rocks they can find. And they're really small and not very nice. And here's the inside of someone's house. It's falling apart because, well, since they can't, it's the dry season, so they don't have much water, so they can't make that mud stuff to repair it. So then they just have pools all over in their houses, and you can just see the little stick things that they weave it through. And that's really sad. So, in the morning that day, we went to this school and gave the kids breakfast, which was hot dogs, except they called them chicken fingers because they were made out of chicken. And that was pretty scary. So, but then ketchup and stuff, so we went there that morning and gave all the kids hot dogs. And it was really amazing because they all waited and then they all prayed together. So they might not have eaten in like a few days, but they had waited for all their classmates to get food before they ate any. And then they all prayed together, and that was really amazing. And the teachers like had specific prayers and stuff, and all the kids knew and stuff, so that was really amazing too. One of the days we also gave a VBS up there. We only got to do that once because it was kind of short, and the translators were really struggling with translating the Bible lessons because that was really hard for them. Anyway, that was really cool. Also one of the days, we got up at 3:30 in the morning because we decided to go on this mountain hike. We're like, oh yeah, we can do that. Those don't look too bad. It was pretty bad. It was like,
I stayed behind.
yeah, it was
Pitch black.
Yeah, we got up at 3:30 a.m. pitch black because we had to beat the sun. They said you just can't do it in the daytime. It's really terrible. So we walked up this mountain like for an hour and a half or 2 hours. They said it was going to take like 3 hours to get up there, except we were led by these like 19-year-old guys that just ran up the mountain. So it's like, oh yay, we're gonna die. They didn't have flashlights or anything. Anyway, but so when we made it to the top, we were like, oh yeah, we're so cool. We made it all the way up this big mountain. We just climbed the mountain. It's amazing. And when we made it to the top, there was this lady walking down with like tons of stuff on her head, and she just did that like every day, like 40 pounds of stuff with like a mule thing, and they just did that every day to go down there and sell it.
And you saw
we're
it
like,
everywhere.
oh, yeah, it was everywhere. It's just what they did every day. So that was really cool. And then when we were coming down, we even saw a lot of those people coming back up and stuff. So they sold their stuff really quick. And we also saw a giant tarantula. That pipe is like 3 inches thick. It's huge. So we figured if we ever did see a tarantula, that it would just be smaller than the domestic ones or something that we have here. No, they're bigger. They're a lot bigger. It was really scary. But this dude showed it to us, and then killed it with a giant shovel. Anyway, so then we had to walk down the mountain, and that was not fun either. Anyway,
Yeah, I think we're supposed to have a school breakfast.
Oh, rats.
Yeah.
You're doing masquerade?
We'll talk about masquerade. Just go by the pictures.
I guess I'll start with the masquerade, even though I don't have notes on that. We went to the masquerade, which it kind of really struck me, and it made me really sad to think that there are over 200,000 people buried there that were killed in the earthquake in 2010. And I guess Witsa, which is Ronald's wife, they talked about her earlier, she was in class that day and she was 15. And she was supposed to leave early to go and meet her aunt. And she left early, you know, and then the earthquake happened and every single one of her classmates died that day. And she was the only survivor. Wow. So they, from what I heard, I guess she has a lot of guilt from that. And sorry, I'm sick. She doesn't, it was kind of hard for her to go there. those crosses, there used to be a line of them going down the mountain to the mass grave. And after the earthquake happened, they all like collapsed, so I think those are the only ones that are still up there. Haiti built a great memorial for it, and it was really pretty, very sad all at the same time. So that was a part of that. And then we went to the orphanage. I was impressed that as soon as we walked into the orphanage, they all gave us a hug, and I was like, oh, hi, you know, and they lined up and they all gave us a hug. And they were all very well behaved. I never saw any of them act out or anything. That was really impressive. And we gave them food like we did at the school breakfast. And they all sang and they prayed before they ate. And the singing was really cool because I recognized one of the songs was Father Abraham, but it was in Creole. So I was like, that is so cool. You know, and it really amazed me. I didn't get to see the bedrooms because I was out in the kitchen helping with the kids and stuff. But I believe this is one of the bedrooms, right? And where they sleep. And I forget, was there 38 kids? And like, how many rooms? I don't remember how many rooms.
4 or 5
4?
rooms, yeah.
Yeah. And then we played soccer with them. We brought some soccer balls, and they're all very impressive with the soccer ball. They have so much control with their feet, and that was impressive.
That's the area they have to play in.
Yeah, that's like this area they have to play in, and that's it. Then you saw in the beginning there was a little girl that I was holding. Her name was Zena, and I was gonna guess about 5 or 6. I told you about her one day. She was there, and I saw her, and I went like this, and she came over and she wanted me to hold her. And so I did, and I held her for probably about an hour and a half or so. And we cuddled and all that, and then it was time to go, and she didn't even look at me when I said goodbye. So that was really hard for me to leave her there, because you see these children and you can't take them home, and it's really hard. John did the school breakfast. I was supposed to talk about that. It kind of reminded me of the fish and bread story, because we just kept getting more and more and more. And we actually didn't have that many hot dogs, but we kept cutting them in half, and we were able to feed like every kid in the school. Yeah, like 120 kids. It was amazing. So there it is. We passed them all out and kept cutting them in half. And all the kids prayed, like John said, which was really cool. They were all really well behaved too. I was kind of impressed by that. And the little kids, we went to feed the little kids, and they were scared of us. They would go, no blanc, no blanc, no blanc. And it's because they're taught stories that the blanc are going to come and eat them or, you know, hurt them. And it's not exactly what we were going for, so we had to let the Haitians feed them and stuff. But that was kind of hard for me because I just wanted, here, take food, you know, and they're like, no. Then we walked up to Donnie's house, and he hung out with us the whole week. He's a pretty cool kid. I was really amazed by his house because it was, you know, the typical stick and mud house. But it kind of struck me harder because you know Donnie, and it's like, this kid lives here. And I don't know, it hit me kind of more in the heart than I did with the other houses because, you know, he's Donnie. He also built his own little playhouse. I don't know if there's a picture of it up there, but he built like a little stick and mud playhouse, which I thought was really cool. So that was Thursday.
We also went to the museum on Thursday, is that right?
Wednesday.
In the marketplace,
Yeah.
too. So, do you want to share anything about the marketplace, Michelle?
Well, it was, as you see in the pictures, it's like a massive flea market.
It was not in our town. This was like 45 minutes away.
Arcade, I think. I could be wrong.
It's archaic, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the main floor, and then upstairs you can see there's some more vendors up there. It was a lot thinner up there, so that's where we kind of stay most times so we didn't get too lost. And they get a lot of grains and materials in bulk, and then they sell them there. That is the view from upstairs looking out towards the ocean. That is the lower marketplace. That was an interesting experience. Pastor and I got to go through there. And the tarps are just held up by a series of, a big web of ropes, and every time the wind would come, the tarps would come down, so you'd be walking, and then you'd be walking, and then walking, and it was interesting. It took 5-10 minutes to get all the way through it, and then back up, I think. One of the translators led us through.
morning we went on a prayer walk, and I can tell you that I was really nervous about this part of our trip. I was very intimidated. I was very nervous about going on other people's property, into other people's homes to pray with them. They didn't know us, you know. That was kind of scary. But it turned out to be my favorite part of the week. The translators that were with us assured us that they would only take us to homes that needed prayer and that were Christian. So we walked around and went to different homes and asked them what they needed prayed for. And they all asked to pray for their families, their children. One lady asked about her home. It was a widow who had been taking care of 9 kids. We don't know if all 9 of them were hers, but she was taking care of 9 of them. And the property she was living on, the owners were getting ready to sell the property so she would be without a home, and she already lived in a stick and mud house, and that was her house there. And that was really heartbreaking for me to see that and to see her struggle. This was another family that we prayed for. This was the only time we ever saw affection towards a child while we were there, was with this baby. She loved on him and hugged him, and it was good to see. And then later during the day, on Friday, we went to the beach. That's how we ended our week. Totally different than the rest of Haiti. This was set up actually for tourists and things. We had to pay to get in. It was beautiful, very clean. We had a restaurant there that we ate in that night. It was just a lot of fun. I think the thing that impacted me the most while we were there, and even to me before we were there, is this was a really huge step out of my comfort zone. A very huge leap of faith for me. David was sick the weekend before, and I said the whole week, I'm not going to Haiti. I'm staying home with David, I'm staying home with David, I'm not going to Haiti. And we just decided that we were going to put it in God's hands and go. And I had my cell phone with me the whole time, but really depended on God and leaned on God for the whole trip. So that was huge for me, and I will go back one day. So.
One of the things I think was most effective for our gospel witness is we were able to purchase, we heard about these balls from a missionary at a missions conference a couple of years ago, but they're soccer balls and they have the gospel in Creole, their language. So they cost about 20 bucks a piece if you buy a case of them. We were able to get enough money to buy a case, and we were able to have we brought 4 hand pumps and then a dozen of these gospel balls with us. And the kids have no toys. When we were building the chicken coop, a couple of kids were playing, and they had a rim that he pushed around with a stick, like a rim off of either, I don't know, a wheel or something. And the other kid had 2 tin cans, and one of them was rusty. Like if you cut yourself, you're going to have to go to the clinic, kind of rusty. And so when the kids got stuff like this, we didn't give it to one child, we gave it to organizations. So we left a couple at the schools, we left a couple at the orphanages, we gave a couple to local pastors, and they were able to have some neighborhood activities, because a dozen out of the hundreds of kids that were there in our town, you just wouldn't have been able to pick out 1 or 2 kids. But this was really impressive, because the kids seemed like they were reading them, and they were always being involved in that. It seemed like that was a way that we could give the gospel to them, even though we didn't speak the language. So that was just really great to be able to have those. I'd carry those around, then people would come and say, give me that ball, or give me whatever, give me your backpack, someone said. Jeremiah said, you have to tell them that they need to give you something. So I got panicked at one point because I thought I was a big shot and was walking back to the compound by myself. And somebody came up, a girl came up and said, give me your backpack. And it was while there was this truck, I couldn't get away from her, and I was surrounded by people. So I said, give me your hat. And then she laughed and gave me a high five. And I was like, Jeremiah was right. So, this is at the school, this is the kids' playground. That's one of the gospel balls there. As far as the adventure part goes for me, there were crickets, because we didn't have windows or glass in our windows or anything. It's just open, everything's open air. And so our house, our bedroom, was littered with crickets. And the first night, they just kept me up. They aren't like chirp, chirp, chirp. It sounds like a broken washing machine. And so every night I'd get up and try to kill a couple. And when they'd all get together, it was like locusts in the summertime. It was just ringing in your ears. I don't know how anyone else slept. I had a decibel meter on my phone, and when there's one cricket left, the last night I killed the last cricket, but I measured his decibels before I killed him, and it was almost 80 decibels. So you get like half a dozen of these things going. I don't know how anyone else got any sleep between Ben Swain and the crickets. The impacting experience for me would have been to see the Christian culture and the voodoo culture. They protected us a lot from the voodoo culture. I'd say there's a lot of just people who are ambiguous toward either one or the other. It'd be like 10% Christian and maybe 10 or 20% voodoo, and they're kind of, I don't want to say they're in battle, but they're each trying to win people in their culture over to them. The culture is steeped in voodoo. We were walking the first day, and Jeremiah and Tanya showed me that this is one of the 2 voodoo houses, and they know that because there's a designated flag that's half black and half white. And when we went to the museum, I saw that indeed used to be the national flag used to be the voodoo flag. And since then they've changed it, so it's navy blue and red with the coat of arms on it. But it's thinly veiled Satanism and occultism is what it is. And when we went up to the mountain village, the nicest building in town was a voodoo hut, and it was across the street from a Baptist church. So those were the 2 religious, spiritual buildings up there. But this is, they instructed us not to be obvious in taking pictures. And I thought I was sneaking these pictures of the voodoo hut in, but they were actually a group of people down underneath one of the trees and started yelling at me when I took the picture. I don't know if it was just because I was white or what, but I took off back to the group as soon as they started yelling at me.
He did things he wasn't supposed to do all week.
Yeah, I guess so. But just things that were like, you're not supposed to eat stuff out of the wheelbarrows. And anyway, one of the other things that was most impressive to me, like Karen Swain, one of my favorite times was the prayer walk. And Sherry was with us and knew a lot of the people that we went to. But the first place we went to, I had a verse of scripture that I went to read to the lady that we were with there. And the translators were just having a hard time as I would read scripture to translate that. And so the widow finally stood up and she said this in Creole, but she said, "Let me get my Bible." And it's just easy to forget that, yeah, they have their own Bible. It costs about $10, which meant that was a really precious possession. And I said, "Can I take a picture of your Bible?" Because it looked, it was marked up, it had sermon notes in it and prayer requests in it, and it was in a nice case, but it was just a paperback Bible that she had obviously used this a lot. And then this is a picture that Karen Swain put in, and I left in, but that was the piece of sugar cane I was eating as we were waiting for the tire to be changed. Yeah, just lots of fun. The kids are not valued at all. They really need biblical family values. It's what they need. You're not supposed to eat. Well, that mango fell out of a tree and was given to me, so. And then apparently Ben Swain took this at night as I was looking at crickets. But there were so many places that the crickets were hiding, and I didn't think I'd ever get them, but on the last night I got the last one. So that was our service trip / adventure / impacting experience. Cricket Safari. We just want to thank you folks for supporting us both financially and in prayer. So if you guys want to go ahead and have a seat, we'll wrap up the service with a couple of thoughts.